by M.p Temple. Read by the author.
Episode 1. Future Treats. I know this is strange, and it shouldn't have happened. But before I explain, promise me you will try to remember a few things. I regret what I did thinking back. Maybe wait to judge stuff? Also, remember, you would have taken off all your clothes for that much money too. Everything started back on October 16th, 2002. Long story short, my mom sometimes tried to save money on beer by buying a 12-pack, intending to drink a can a night. Then the beer would be gone by the morning. It had been a 24-pack night. After slamming the glass sliding door in front of my mom laying on the sofa, I left home, with anything I had important left stuffed in my emotional support hoodie pocket and a side saddlebag, and my math book. I couldn't afford to pay the fine if I didn't return it. Yes, I have an emotional support hoodie. Leave me alone. The point is, when I left, I decided I wasn't going back. The issue was I had nowhere to go, not after ruining everything over a stupid argument. Do you have places you go when you get stuck? When the world feels like it is closing in on me, I end up in the park or in Indianapolis. Usually, I went to Mia's, unless her mom was home, which is like almost never, right? Well, that night, I walked to the park in the dark, hoping I could hide out behind a bush or something until I could figure out what to do. I have a bush I like, but anywhere there works. I needed a moment to breathe and to feel safe. To my surprise, I saw a giant raised stage full of colorful lights. A crowd of partying teenagers and adults danced around, soaked in paint. The hand thing reached 10:30 on my plastic watch. I wondered who would allow a party on a Tuesday night. The crowd cheered and held up their arms as paint splattered. I sighed. I thought about heading to my second spot, but I figured wandering around Las Vegas at night wasn't a great idea. A voice I can only describe as a ditzy tree beard who focused on weird words came from behind me. I jumped. I faced a woman a little older than me wearing giant swim goggles, splattered with so much pigment I'm not sure how she could see. Azami, I presume, she said, adjusting her shower cap wet with paint. Or Aurore Chandler, it looks like. It's your other name. Not knowing what to say to this, I shrugged. Yeah, I'm Aurore Chandler. This is yours. From inside her multicolored plastic coat pocket, she handed me a small, flat, white package. It had a strange ice cream cone logo on the front. I don't think this is mine. I tried to hand it back. Oh no, I can't take it back. Make sure you watch the video when you turn 18 at midnight. You can go in. You're an employee now. You're on the list. Good luck. And don't forget to wash your hands, she said, looking at the box. Watch the video, I asked. The box thing in my hand didn't weigh as much as a videotape. How did you know? She ran into the crowd past the entrance, not bothered by the flying paint from the super soakers on stage. The ticket woman with all the tattoos didn't stop me from going into the event, so I ran after the goggled lady. As I made my way through the people after her, a familiar face popped into view. She danced, kind of, wearing an orange tank top and ripped jeans. Oh no, Mia's here, I said. You see, I had decided she and I shouldn't be friends anymore. Not after our last fight. Like, when the world feels like it's going to explode, she's the one who helps out. But I suck and can't keep friends. Of course, she would be there that night too. I looked at my knuckles, which had finally started kinda looking normal again. Not so purple and swollen. The colors fell on the white package before I could jam it into my hoodie pocket. I turned from the stage to walk to the back of the park past the concession stands. From there, I could take the sidewalk with the working streetlights until I could figure something out. I also have a fear of confrontation, which I'm sure didn't factor into anything. Then she saw me, with the clear view, no head or body part obstructed. Her eyes narrowed at me. I felt like there should have been a Western Showdown theme playing or something. I turned around, pretending to look at whatever else. I picked a fried sweet potato stand in the corner of the park and did not look away for as long as I could. My head turned back in the direction of where she had been standing. She stared at me. I bet she never looked away. Too many people touched me as I pushed my way through the crowd to her. My nose bumped up against hers. She stood back with that dirty blonde, mid-length, side-parted curly hair. The orange tank top glowed in the neon lights. Her eyes gave me the wild bear look. Blue eyes with a hint of green and gray with little specks of an auburn color sort of thing. I guess you know. Anyways, her orange and green cheeks pointed down. Chances are in a frown. She pointed. I knew what she was pointing to, which was any place away from the crowd of people. I went with her, partly having nowhere to run, partly because I missed her. Once we got away from the noise and constant paint showers, she took out her earplugs. She wrinkled her nose. Someone chucked a trash bag into a dumpster near the parked food trucks. Like, are you following me again? Like when you wanted that stupid note from Sally in junior high, she said, with that pinch of whatever that low-pitched California emo thing of hers is. Who the hell talks to Sally? No one. Her parents aren't even alive. Why are you here? Sometimes my brain needs time to shift through all the random thoughts that pop up. Her eyes rolled. She waited, knowing my head also runs on volunteer hamsters, which there aren't too many of. Instead of answering her question, I was like, I know I punched a hole in your wall, and I shouldn't have done that over our Mongolian barbecue versus Mongolian grill fight. She let out an angry sigh. It's not Mongolian barbecue. It's Mongolian grill. You make it sound like you're barbecuing Mongolians. That's horrible. Nobody wants that for a name unless it's for a punk rock band. I will not back down, but I stopped myself. The S word is one of our forbidden words we promised not to use with each other. I wish I could be better. I need your help. Something happened. I got this thing. I don't know what to do with it. And nowhere to go. 12-pack night? She asked. I nodded. Come over for coffee? She didn't look at me when she said it. What? I said. Okay, she mumbled. I didn't like that wall anyways. You should have called me. You told me you never wanted to speak to me again. I messed everything up. I can't do anything right. I don't deserve at all to be, I said, hitting myself with words. She put a finger to my lips and closed her eyes. Easy. The past is dead. We can always start over. You know, if you would take it easy on yourself, we wouldn't fight. Never mind. I know where we can get a van. Let's go to my house and look at those math notes you didn't take. The class we need to pass if we want to graduate. I'm adding Mongolian to our list of things we don't talk about. That means you're on your own in next week's history class, which I am so regretful of. Also, my mom is home early from the trip again, so be ready for that. Does your mom know about us? I asked. She did that weird lip thing she does when she's not sure how to answer something. The music stopped playing, the lights went out, and people headed to their cars. I'll be back, She ran in a random direction. I found a park bench and waited. A glow of fireflies greeted me in the parking lot as I watched the people leave and the food trucks pack up. Feeling the package in my hoodie pocket, I wondered if she would return. A bang rang out nearby, and an old familiar white hippie van drove to the curb in front of me. Mia sat in the driver's seat and motioned me with her head to get in. "Does your aunt know you have your van?" I asked, slamming my door after climbing into the passenger seat. She frowned and closed her eyes. She breathed out with her tongue partly sticking out. "It's mine after I get the money together," she said, revving the engine. The van sped down the street, more likely over the speed limit. Finally, she is like, "Can you change the tape? Put in Aurore's birthday mix?" Cassette tapes were sprawled out between the seats and on the floor, like usual. Mia didn't want to spend the $10 on an adapter for the van CD player, so she made tapes. She recorded a bunch of stuff so she and her mom could have something to listen to on the way back and forth from court, unless Miss K was home from a business trip. "How did you know my birthday was today?" I asked, reaching for the tape. "That's a stupid question," she replied. And for once, she focused on the road so she wouldn't have to look at me. "I was hoping you would call me." "Why didn't you call me?" I asked. She let out an angry snort of air. Something in my hoodie began to vibrate, loud enough to hear it. Her face became ghost white. "What the hell is that shaking?" she asked, gripping the steering wheel harder. The intensity grew stronger and stronger in circles of buzzing, stopping and then starting again. "That's what the goggled lady gave me," I said. "Who? Get it out of here!" she shouted. The van drove into a roundabout. She reached inside my hoodie and grabbed the box. She tossed the package outside onto the gravel. Mia stretched out her arms to protect her face and got closer to me. I covered my head. We waited for what we thought would be an explosion. The box kept moving on the rocks. We got out of the vehicle. It shook on the ground at her feet, but it didn't explode. We looked at each other. "Hello from Future Treats," we heard from inside. The lid blew open. Confetti fell everywhere. "We care." "What the hell?" Mia shouted. "Where did that come from?" A truck horn honked at us as it drove across the sidewalk to pass. She looked back to the van that blocked the roundabout. "If it's not going to blow up, let's take it with us." She picked up some confetti and put some in her pockets. We got in and raced away. She pulled over again when it looked safe to park. We both looked at the package. I opened it. She ducked behind me. The device looked like a futuristic handheld PDA. A red screen on a square device switched on. The ice cream logo turned red. A name appeared on the screen. AZAMI. I have no idea what a Azami is, or how I would even pronounce that, I said. Mia shrugged. Under the name appeared mine, Aurore. The device began to talk as if a person were speaking. "Let's get to work," it said. We looked at each other. "Why does the PDA vibrate?" "Hi, Amy. Let's start the employee video." I wasn't sure if the device thing glitched out, or if that's how you said that name, or if the device was supposed to shock and burn my hand a little or not. I turned to her, and I'm like, "Did that thing just call me a Zammy?" She shrugged. "Did that thing just shock you?" "Meh," I shrugged. A video played on the PDA thing. An ice cream scoop across the screen. Words appeared on the top of the strawberry ice cream. The picture was sharper and clearer than anything we had ever seen. I wish I could see the rest of the world with that kind of clarity. "This is nuts," Mia exclaimed. A flash blinded us. The ground shook. I felt this strange sensation all over my body. When I could see again, the light from objects bent in strange ways. Light from everything spun towards something. Everything went black. Before my sight came back, I heard a voice. I turned around. Everything looked the same as it had moments before. The touchpad glass thing did whatever it did whenever sucking us into the thing, and now we stood in the same place? Happy birthday, employee. You can begin your shift whenever you want. You might have questions such as, what is going on? Where am I? How do I file my W-2? Let's address some of those questions. My head turned to the driver's seat. She moved closer to me and squinted at the PDA. What did that thing do to us? She asked. A new video played. You work for Future Treats now, ass Amy. The voice cut from the ice cream cone to a beach with waves hitting the sand on a bright day. You are exactly where you were before you found this device. In the same room with the same people you love and cherish. You are okay. You are in a completely different, identical universe. You have signed up to work for Future Treats. Who are we? We deliver food whenever you want it. How does Future Treats provide our great service without causing complications to the space-time continuum? Let me tell you, because we care, we cannot offer our service within our own universe. You can imagine why this might be a bad idea. But luckily, with your help, we can offer our service to a select few universes, or dimensions if that makes more sense to you. Now, are you calm? No, we both exclaimed. Perfect. For a fun explanation, here is a scientist from our company. The hell is all this, an identical universe? Mia asked. An ice cream scoop hand puppet appeared against a basic textured blue wall. A woman spoke in a lower, ridiculous voice. You like video games, don't you? Well, imagine you got a high score and you're ready to move on to the next level. The game autosaves your progress into a file. Sometimes, for unknown reasons, this file can get saved into multiple copies. If you open any of these files, they play. You have all your items and nothing major has changed. Think of this dimension you are in now like one of those save files. It is a copy of the dimension you used to live in. You might notice a few anomalies, but let's not freak out. At Future Treats, we care. So, let's pause a second and think about what we have learned. Why is the puppet talking so much? I don't like it, she said. To my horror, the puppet went on. You're in one of those dimensional save files right now. This isn't a game, this is real, so please read the employee standards of conduct so you won't get yourself hurt. We wouldn't want that. Remember, you signed a waiver. The video changed into a wide shot of the lady with the puppet. She laughed and took the puppet off her hand. She spoke in a normal voice. The woman had reddish-gray hair and laughed a bit before talking next. The dimension you are in is safe. Other than the risk you and all your party agreed to when you signed your contract. There is nothing you can do here that is going to mess up any timelines, realities, or any of that. Everything has been safeguarded for us. Now, you might ask, could I go back in time and kill Hitler as a child? Yes, if you can find an order from back then, I suppose, but you have fast food to deliver. If you choose to start your shift, you have 8 hours to take deliveries at your convenience. At the end of the 8 hours, you might get to go home with all the money you earned. If you don't want to work, that's okay too. We have another you on shift who is willing to work. If you choose not to take deliveries, please enjoy our time travel PDA. At the end of those 8 hours in the shift, You could return to this exact same moment in your own reality. If you have any questions, you can ask them then. Remember, we care. I saw a box at the device's screen prompting me to please agree. Is this a joke? Mia asked. We're in a different dimension? Are you doing this? Did you set this up? I said. No, I have no idea what's going on. Why would you say that? She asked. I stammered. I don't know. Why did I say that? Mia never plays pranks on me. Why did I question her like that? I don't mean it. I don't know what any of this means. I don't blame you for stuff, she exclaimed. It sounds like you got signed up for something. What am I supposed to do with this? I looked down at the PDA. I gotta get back to my house soon. She shifted gears. Wait, if this is a job, do you think it pays well? I asked, raising my eyebrow. She grunted, turning the steering wheel. I need to talk to my mom about this. She'll know what to do. I turned to her. Didn't the video say this is an identical dimension or something? Wouldn't that mean that's not your mom? It's one of your moms? I mean, she said. I could see her thinking. It's still my mom. Maybe we shouldn't tell her we got put in an identical dimension for some time travel fast food job. She's not going to believe us. That was that one day. She doesn't always act like that. She takes stuff out on people like I do, she exclaimed. So she'll be okay with knowing we've been hanging out. Mia glanced, then shook her head. She turned up the volume of the birthday tape mix. We listened to the bumps in the road along with the wailing guitars and the screaming vocals. Episode 2. Don't Slam the Door. Neither of us talked until the van pulled up into the open garage. We parked. Mia whispered, "Close your door very, very quietly. Don't slam it. Mom can hear like a mouse whispering prayers from close up. Don't make any noise above this level of a whisper. If she doesn't hear us, she's not going to wake up, and I don't have to explain stuff tonight. You can try to convince my mom you're not the devil in the morning." I'm like, why is the mouse praying? Why can your mom hear them? Who are they praying to? Are there like cheese gods who demand sacrifices? She told me that wasn't the point and told me again not to slam my door. She got out of the van quietly as she could and snuck across the concrete floor. She reached for a rope attached to the top and pulled it all the way down, closing the garage without making a sound. Proud, she turned to me. "Nailed it," she whispered. "Slam." She looked at me in horror. I looked back, also in horror. My mouth hung open. I was thinking, don't slam the door so hard that I slammed the door. I am so sorry. Stomping her foot and stretching out her fingers in anger, she said, "I asked you to do one thing. One is a hard number. I messed up. I'm sorry," I replied. "Apology loop," she said. From the kitchen entrance of the garage, Miss K rushed out. She turned on a single light. She stood in her black nightgown, looking hard and confused. We stood covered in paint. "Mia, is that you?" she asked. Mia rolled her eyes. "No, Mom, I'm Dumbledore. I'm here to solve all your problems for you." She shook her head as if that were the dumbest question ever. Miss K's face got angry red. I know that look on a mom's face. I should have stopped myself from letting her pick me up from the park. She shouldn't be hanging out around me. This is why I don't deserve to have happiness. Why can't I get out of my way? "I'm sorry," I said, hyperventilating. She turned to me. Apology loop. She turned to her mother, rolling her eyes. Yeah, Mom, I picked up a hooker, bought some blow, and joined a cult too. Miss K looked at me and sighed. Are you the cult leader or the hooker? She said to me. Mia put a hand on my shoulder. Since my knees were shaking, my face must have looked like a fish out of water trying to breathe. Maybe both, she said. Miss K took a couple of steps towards us. You don't have a license, Mia. Her left eye twitched. I gasped. Mia shrugged. If someone was ever home to take me to get the test, I would have one. Miss K is like, Maria Serenity? What is going on? Why is Aurore here? Close to 1 o'clock in the morning. We looked at each other, hoping the other would know what to do. But of course, I'm stupid and I can't think of anything. Mia rolled her eyes at me after not saying something. She starts explaining, Bianca will figure out the van is gone. I went looking for Aurore at the park and found a glow party going on. Someone gave them a package with a futuristic PDA. Strange stuff happened. A puppet told us we were in an identical dimension, here to deliver fast food. My hand shook as I reached out to show the PDA to Miss K. She looked at it, tired. Nice Palm Pilot. Miss K closed her eyes and let out a deep sigh. Identical dimension. This is what you came up with to tell me. Out of all the things you could have picked, it's an identical dimension fast food? Do you think I'm stupid? On the futuristic device, I looked up the apps, trying to find some way to show Miss K the employee video that we saw. But the video was gone. I couldn't find it. The phone had a weird setup that made it super hard to find anything. Mia looked at me. I shook my head. I can't find the video. It said there would be an 8-hour shift and then we'd get to return when the shift started or something. Miss K stepped towards the kitchen door. What is happening is you are going to bed. I am calling Aurore's mother to come pick up the identical dimension traveler. Miss K looked at me. What's your number? I don't know what my number is. Which is true. I didn't bother to memorize my house number. What was I going to do calling my house anyways? Check on the answering machine to see if the house was lonely? My mom would never pick up. Miss K walked over to me. I held my breath. She took something sticking out of my hoodie. Taking the flyer from my math book. The Future Treats ad on the back faced me as she looked at the names on the parent meetup flyer. She found my name and walked to the kitchen. She picked up the receiver on the wall. Fingers punched in some numbers. She won't answer. Followed her inside. My hands fell flat on the counter beside Miss K. Mom, stop. Mia stood near the refrigerator covered in envelopes marked bills, held on by those magnetic things. They were all unpaid. Let's get everyone home, Miss K huffed, waiting as the phone rang. Cue to tragedy. For the first time, my other mother answered the phone. I was doomed. Sorry to call so late, Miss Chandler. Aurore is here and... She paused. Miss K turned to me as my mom spoke, slurring her words over the receiver. She couldn't stop looking at me. She knew. I listened. She listened. My mom had told her something. I lowered my eyes. You should drink some water. She hung up the phone. Mia hesitated before asking, what did she say? Miss K turned away from us. She spoke. That Aurore can spend the night. I'll drive you both to school in the morning. Does that handheld device tell you when your shift starts? Is this going to interfere with that math class you're failing? I shrugged. How about you both go to sleep? Miss K turned back to talk to us. Instead, she saw me grabbing something from the top cabinet. I poured coffee into Mia's favorite cup, the one with the emo llama. I handed it to her. And then I realized what I did. We looked up at her together. How do you know where the coffee cups are, Aurore? She asked. I didn't answer. I took a sip of coffee, hoping she wouldn't notice me wide-eyed. She shook her head. Go steady. And if you're worried about whatever this PDA time thing is, we can deal with it later. There's leftover pizza in the fridge if you want it. I only have 40 bucks left, so that might be it for a while. I'll call my sister in the morning. I'm going to bed. Thanks, Mom. Mia walked further into the house and turned back to look at me. Miss K went back to her bedroom, closing the door. I stood there, confused. She knows what's up. She's like, no one is in trouble. We yell it out sometimes. Come on. I'm used to, fighting with fists and stuff. This is all weird to me. She almost smiled, but she sounded annoyed. Get used to it. We brought the pizza slices up the stairs to her room, on plates hot from the microwave. Mia sat on the floor next to me. After using a napkin to wipe neon paint off her faces, she took a slice of pizza from the plate on my lap. Her lips twisted. How can you work for a company you didn't sign up to work for? How is that, legal? I nodded. The PDA buzzed. We jumped about a foot away together in shock. She pointed. Is there a make it not do weird stuff button? Something else on the screen came up. Take this order now and receive a $2,000 bonus coffee delivery. My eyes went to the order details. $2,000? I can make $2,000 by delivering coffee? I could find a place to live and eat, couldn't I? For a month. That's about how much my mom pays in rent for this place. I know this address. That's Lost Coffee. We're always at Lost Coffee. Order 66. We could pick up the order before school tomorrow. Your mom pays $2,000 a month? About for this house? I asked. She nodded. If you include utilities, yeah, she pays a lot. We don't know what this is. What if this is some kind of scam? The video did have a puppet. But if there are more jobs like that, we could make some real money. Maybe my mom could take some time off if we help out. Did you see all those bills on the fridge? Mia said. We don't know what this is. Though I kept reading on the screen, $2,000. Of course you don't want to do anything, Mia blurted. You never want to do anything to make your situation better. There's so much about this thing we don't know. My fingertip glided over the glass screen. I don't think we should risk whatever this is. She looked hurt at this. I'm not going to mess this up this time, I said. She never answered that. From how her lip twisted, she wanted to say something else, but didn't. It had been hard to sleep after drinking so much coffee with so much excitement. But we lay close to each other for a few hours, with the window cracked, listening to my CD player skip every minute or so. Still laying on the floor, because we're floor people. She had the right earbud, I had the left. We both listened to the same CD on repeat until we fell asleep and the sun came up. I wake up cold at the K house because of how low Mia liked to keep the thermostat. She wraps herself in blankets by the time the sun rises. After staying there for a while until she could bear to get up and face the day, I use this time to go downstairs and make coffee until she calms down. After she and I first started hanging out, we'd always start fighting first thing in the morning. I'm the grumpy one. She's an angry wild bear the entire morning. She threw a spoon at me once. That means to stop talking. We started following a morning depression checklist. It's our routine of coffee and panicking. Things got better. Kind of. That morning, after showering and borrowing some of Mia's clothes, Miss K drove us to Lost Coffee in her expensive Mustang. The place was close to her school and didn't have as much traffic. I fumed over having to carry around that PDA. I couldn't leave the thing in Mia's room. But what was I supposed to do with that for the whole day? Keep it in my pocket? What's the point? The device uses the internet without having to dial up, but I could just walk to a computer. We went to get out of the car, and I was like, "Bye, Miss K," real fast and stuff. But, she said, "Aurore, can I talk to you for a moment? Alone?" I bet my face looked like someone had asked me to tap dance on steak knives or something. I mouthed to Mia, "Save me." Then I remembered she couldn't read lips. And that Miss K could totally see me mouthing stuff. Mia stood there squinting at me confused, trying to figure out what I was saying. "I'll get you an Americano." She shook her head and headed into the neon building. I sat alone in the back left seat behind Miss K, who stopped the Aurore's Birthday mixtape. She let out a breath as if relieved. The sadness of the music hurt her or something. She pulled out the tape and examined the label. "Oh," she said. "Is this tape yours?" I gulped. "Yeah, Mia made it for me today." "Happy birthday," she said. I sat frozen, unable to speak. I tried to say something that sounded like Smanx, but my mumbling words drowned out halfway through saying it. I nodded a few times instead. That seemed to be enough for her. She also nodded. The seats smelled clean. That's what I remember thinking, trying not to think. I'm always finding new ways to do that. I asked her, "Is this about the confetti in the room last night?" I can explain. There was a long pause before she spoke to me again. She sat gripping the steering wheel with both hands. She thought a while before saying, "I'm not sure what dimension we are in, but whichever dimension you find yourself, you can stay with us," she informed me. "Money is tight?" "It's bad, actually. Really bad. I don't know how much I can help you." Squirming in my seat, I exclaimed, "I can look for a job." It dawned on me. My fingers glided over the PDA in my pocket. "Oh, I have a job. I can help you." "You mean the Palm Pilot job you found last night?" She blinked a couple of long blinks. She turned around in the driver's seat to face me. "Some of the orders on the PDA are for a lot of money. It's a real job, I think." I showed the amount to her. Her left eye closed and her head tilted sideways. "Something about this all seems off." She glanced sideways. "You sure this thing isn't going to start asking you to take your clothes off or something?" I reached for the door handle. "I will never take my clothes off for money, Miss K." She shook her head. "You know what I wish somebody would have taught me, Rory?" She reached for her purse. "In case you didn't know, Aurore is a confusing name my mom picked for me because it sounded cool. A lot of people don't know that the R-E at the end is silent. So the teachers and the other kids would call me Aurore or Rory for short. I don't like to be called that anymore, but I wasn't going to correct her. I wish somebody would have told me not to owe anything to anybody. I haven't made a sale in months." She seemed to reflect on the thought. Her face got weird, like that wasn't something I was supposed to know. She went on, "Make sure Mia finds a payphone and checks in with me after school. I'll be at the office. Might have to fly back to Chicago tonight." She rubbed her eyes, then handed me two $20 bills from her purse. "She's going to jump without looking someday." I know because I live out of a suitcase for most days of the year, away from my family. And that's how I got here. With you around, maybe she'll think twice about doing Mia things. Miss K, she's I'm never going to leave her behind. You can trust me. I'm stable. Miss K grabbed my shirt as I went to get out of the Mustang. I flinched. Wait, she said, loosening her grip after seeing my mini freakout. Do you see that person? They are stumbling inside. I should go in with you. I can throw down. I lowered my raised eyebrow. She gave me a death glare. She leaned towards the steering wheel, tapping her fingers. Throw down? She remembered the fight from junior high, the one where all the counselors and therapists got involved. I got to go study math, Miss K. We got a test this morning. I got out of that Mustang so fast, I slammed the door and ran into the coffee shop. Be careful, I heard her say behind me. I found Mia waiting in the back of the coffee shop, collecting pillows from the other 8 retro sofas lining the outer walls of the shop. People sat drinking coffee in large black mugs. The purple and light blue tubes lit the place, casting shadows on the register on the L-shaped counter. The aroma of coffee beans and indie books lingered in the air. I walked past all the college students sitting cross-legged on the floor and sat next to Mia on the sofa. She reached over and put a pillow between me and the armrest. Beethoven played over the store speakers. She handed me the Americano. The drink didn't last long, as I swallowed the whole thing in about 20 seconds. I placed my empty mug next to hers on the coffee table. You watched me freaking out the whole time from in here, didn't you? I asked Mia. Yeah, that was intense. What did she say to you? I sneered, pulling up the PDA. Mia bumped her hips into mine, moving closer. What did she say? I'm staying with you. If I can help pay some stuff off. We are taking the shift and I'm giving your mom the money. And she also told me you spilled sour milk in my locker. I glimpsed at an abstract painting of a crow pecking at a cucumber on the wall. I took the job on the device. Shift begins. You have 8 hours to take orders. At the end of the shift, you might return to your dimension. Good luck, worker. We care, it chimed. She's letting you stay with us, Mia asked, shocked. In this dimension, I guess? I asked, feeling as if I had slammed the door of the van again. She leaned over and hugged me, pressing her forehead into my waist. What are you doing? I asked. Having a moment. She fidgeted with the pillow, not sitting flush. Shut up. She let go of me and sat back up. We're going to figure all this out, this life stuff, aren't we? Yeah. I let my head rest on hers. I'm never leaving you again. I tapped on confirm. Now that your shift has started, you can take an order, it said. These orders are from regular customers who want a good old-fashioned treat from the past. Don't forget to smile, and don't forget to say the Future Treats motto. Our motto is... The speakers cracked and hissed. I held the device away from my body. And we're gonna buy your van from your aunt. She hugged me again, which completely threw me off, because this hugging wasn't usually a thing. Not after long, a woman in her early 30s covered in awesome tattoos walked to the counter. She called out order 66. I hugged Mia tighter before getting up to grab the drink. That's mine. The stumbling drunk Miss K saw out in the parking lot stood in front of me. They wore a red tie and a wrinkled white button-down dress shirt. That's not your coffee, kid, they said. It says it's my order on the PDA. I held up the device. The stranger held something of their own near my device, on top of it as I laid it in my hand. Before I could pull it back, I heard something said, authenticated. I backed away, turning to Mia, who squinted at the stranger in the store. "What did you do?" I asked the stranger. The stranger ran to the counter and grabbed the coffee. Mia stood next to me. She held a pillow ready to use it. "What are you doing? Why would you take her?" the stranger asked, drooping their shoulders. How did they know who Mia was? They went on. "I could throw this, you know. I'm being nice to you, which is nice of me after what you did to me." The drunk took a few steps back. They were moving towards the exit. "What did I do to you? I don't know you." I put my hands in my pockets. "Why do you think I look like you?" they hissed. I peered into their familiar eyes. "Why wouldn't you put a bag over your head at least?" I asked. Other people in the coffee shop turned to us and watched us argue. The cool goth lady waved her hand. "Whatever this is, get it outside and away from here." The drunk shook their head. "I am you in the future from another dimension, but you should know that by now. We got off to the wrong foot here. Let's all go talk things out. I have some hard things to say to you, but I'm going to set you straight. I know a great margarita place in 2019 with some cheap specials." My heart sank. I couldn't believe what I heard. I'm like, "I don't drink. I'm 18. You're joking with me, right? We don't. Thinking about their offer brought a random mental image of my mom into my head, her rummaging through the refrigerator for one last can of beer. The other me's started patting their pockets with their other hand, as if they were searching for something. "I have an ID that says you are of age. It's not even fake. Give me your phone and it's yours." Mia grabbed my clenched hand. "Breathe," she said. The stranger went on. "Can you stop being a sad little emo kid for 5 seconds, little Azami? I got things to do." My jaw clenched. "That was on the package. Are you calling us a Zammy now? Like you think that's a name normal people use?" "What are you saying? Azami. I changed my name to Azami." I'm like, cool. And the first choice you made in this Aurore-free life was to start calling yourself Azami. Cool. You're dumb. I'm getting out of here." They tightened their empty hands. But the to-go cup was gone. "Run!" I yelled to Mia, holding the coffee. We dashed out of the store. Azami ran after us, but gave up. Instead, they raised their middle finger at us. Episode 3, 2 for 1. We got as far away as we could from the crazy old future me. My other thinking spot, the Neonopolis Outdoor Mall, was not far from the coffee shop. It felt like having a private space. We knew no one would be there. The place had only recently opened, but it already felt like a ghost town. We took the escalator up and got far enough away so we could see if the crazy me came looking for us. "Did that happen?" I asked. "That video didn't say anything about this." Mia touched the blackened glass of a window of the former high-end fashion shop. "The one with the puppet? No duh." Mia grabbed the PDA out of my left hand. "The delivery date on this is 2022. Like, it doesn't expect us to stand here with coffee and wait around forever, does it? Where do we deliver this for the money? The pocket computer thing says we have 15 minutes. We gotta figure this out fast. If we are time traveling, why is there a timer?" She took the device from me and started pressing buttons. She's good at that. "Oh," she said, "we're supposed to be like going to school, huh? Screw math class. We can take the test for real after the shift ends, or however that works," I stated. "Here." She exhaled while pressing something. The PDA shook and hummed as loud as a jet engine. "Turn it off!" I freaked out. "I can't stop it!" She cried out. We saw a flash. Everything went dark. When we came to, we stood in an empty Neonopolis. That part was normal, but all the shops in the outdoor mall looked vacant. We were standing on the wrong side of a dusty close sign. Only some of the neon signs that we recognized from 2002 still worked. The time travel device started speaking. Welcome to the year 2022. This PDA time travel trip is sponsored by Elon's Cabbage. Satisfy the crunchy cabbage craving with the taste of Elon. Now verified. Do they use the cabbage when they barbecue your Mongolians? We got to get this delivered if we want that money. I grunted. The list of forbidden words. Oh snap. It's cool, I said. I struggle with the list of forbidden words too. We hurried out of the outdoor mall and onto Fremont Street. People walked around us. The casino lights flashed and slot machines clanked from a distance. Paint from a street artist sprayed into the warm air. Music from our time blasted through speakers hanging on the jumbotron overhead. This is the future, huh? I asked. We stopped and looked around together, looking at all the lights and sights around us. Do you think if we weren't all depressed, we'd be all impressed, oh my God, we're in the future and stuff? Who has feelings anymore? Mia scoffed. It's like they slapped a bunch of expensive stuff all over the buildings. I rolled up my sleeves. Wouldn't it be nice if we could enjoy moments like this? I breathed. Right. Let's see where we were taking this coffee to. Get that money. Above the front door was an enormous banner that read Fukuyu, and everyone had to walk under it to get into the store. She and I walked inside, looking at the sign, shaking our heads. That sounds like someone made a joke, but no one got it. So they kept it, I said. She pointed at the poster on the window. An old lady with her thumb sticking up stood against a background of lilies. The poster read, Neighborhood Market, 50% off canned tuna day. Dr. Tanaka? I whispered in amazement. Did my therapist quit and buy a grocery store? I felt Mia's hand on my shoulder. I don't want to be mean, but after meeting your future self, I know why. I need a drink. I paused. Water, not that kind of drink. I'm on it. She headed to the short fridges near the register full of glass marble soda and other drinks. The order didn't say where we were taking the coffee, so we started looking around. Fukuyu Family Market had a bunch of weird stuff in it, mostly things wrapped in rice and seaweed. The air smelled sweet from the bread baking at the back of the store. The woman at the register waved us down. Is that my lost coffee? The woman loosely swung her arms. It should be order 66. I handed her the order, trying to smile. Did I offend you? The clerk asked. That's how they smile, Mia explained. She took a large sip, closing her eyes and tilting her head. She slurped before drawing back and pushing out air out of her mouth. That's the taste I've missed for 20 years. Makes me want to read Sansei Yamao. This cost a lot of money for coffee, but she hummed a classical piece of music to herself. This 2-for-1 deal was worth it. Mia grabbed my shoulder again. 2 for 1? Yeah. Azami delivered the other coffee 5 minutes ago at 9:35. I gave the first one to my boss. Take the waters as a tip. I'll cover for you. Thanks again for the discount. What do you mean 2 for 1? My eyes turned to the time of the PDA. The time read 9:41, which was different from the time displayed at the store. Mia dragged me away from the counter, holding 2 giant plastic water bottles. It means we didn't make the delivery first. The device chimed as we walked out of the air-conditioned store and into the hot parking lot. On the screen now appeared my name and Azami's name. Under mine showed $0. Azami had 2,000 under it. I pressed the screen almost to her face, knowing her vision sucks, so she could see how much cash we lost. Let's take another order, she pointed. Find something big. A voice called out from inside the store. Azami! The store doors opened. I turned around to a shocked older Japanese lady wearing a store uniform. "Oh no," she said. "You took that delivery job." "Hi, Dr. Tanaka," I waved. "You look great." She frowned. "Why are you hanging out with Mia?" she asked, putting her hands on her hips. "We're friends now." Mia deadpanned as we hugged. "The trauma bonded us or something." Tanaka blinked. "Your trauma bonding, yes." She closed one eye and tightened her lips. "I don't do that anymore." "I'm glad to see you've worked things out." For a minute. "Hey, Aurore, tell your older self to move their van. It's been out front all month." "I'm going to get it towed if they can't get it going." "Van?" My words fumbled as they came out. "I have a van?" She pointed to the corner of the parking lot. I recognized something I had not seen on the way inside. "Is that your Aunt Bianca's van?" I asked. There, parked at the far end, taking up 2 spots, sat the brown hippie van. Supersized wheels, giant side windows. The van might as well have had a surfboard attached to the roof. I peeked in the back windows, walking around to the front of the vehicle. "What's inside?" Mia asked. The sun reflected off of a card sitting on the front seat. I put my hand to my forehead. "My license," I whispered. My wallet sat opened up with my DMV photo out in plain view. My soul died a little, and my emotional support hoodie. The fabric had seen better days. Mia choked on her words. "Why's your stuff in my van?" she asked. "I don't know." I felt my hand shake the more I thought about a future living in a parking lot. Where were my friends? Why didn't I have a family? I thought about finding a rock to break the window, but realized the door was unlocked. Also, it wouldn't have righted the wrong in the DMV photo. Mia stood staring at her reflection in the passenger side mirror. My eyes turned to the back of the van. The back looked like a trash-themed adventure park. The seats had been removed, and off to the left side lay a sleeping bag on a mountain of clothes. To the right was a wall of stuff with the backpack I recognized. The side saddlebag, the one I had forgotten to take to school and left in Mia's room. "Do you see anything of mine?" she asked. "Are you sure it's a Zamie's? 'Cause you wouldn't buy this without me, right? Unless my aunt had to sell it for some reason." "I'm not seeing anything that looks like yours. Where am I then?" "This is a joke universe. This isn't what's going to happen in 21 years, is it? You gone, me living out at the back of a van, worth nothing? Is this all there is?" She stuck out her hand. "That's a little dramatic. We don't know anything yet." Mia opened the passenger door and looked inside. She reached over and put the keys into the ignition. She tried to start the van. The engine didn't start, but instead made a clanking metal sound. She shrugged. "I know that sound." A moment later, the hood popped and she hit some car thing near the top. "Now try it," she mumbled, returning back to the van. Her hand rose and her finger pointed towards the ignition. I turned the key. The engine started. The hood of the van closed shut. Mia looked at the entrance of the store. "Hey, Dr. Tanaka, you don't need a tow truck." Dr. Tanaka stood on the sidewalk, looking on, almost lost. She held up her thumb. Finally, she almost chuckled. "You might want to get out of here if you're going to go on a joyride." She nodded at the vehicle. Mia jumped in and closed the door, softly. "What do you mean?" I exclaimed. "I can't live in a van. This isn't what I wanted at all." "So," Mia shrugged, revving the engine, "we have to change this. I don't know what this is, but I don't like it. We've watched all those movies. All that stuff is impossible to change. Someone ends up dying or someone learns some bull lesson. She waved me into the van. I did as she wanted and climbed into the passenger seat. Salmon, like the fish, an audiobook played through the beat-up side speakers. She turned it off. It doesn't matter what happens in the future or whatever. This is a different dimension. Once we get to the end of the shift, with this van full of money, we can do what we want. Mia shifted and began to roar out of the parking lot. The vehicle stopped near Dr. Tanaka, who waved at us. Mia stuck her head out the window. "Hey," Dr. Tanaka yelled. "Take it easy on yourselves." Mia stuck her thumb out the window for her ex-therapist to see, then sped out at the parking lot. As the van drove down the road, I looked at the orders on the device. She pointed to one of the orders. "Let's find the easiest one," she said. "Can you watch the road?" I barked. "I am. I'm side-eyeing it." "You are not side-eyeing me. You are looking. The road is there, and the van is heading to the other side there." Seeing where we were on the road, I covered my eyes with my hands. Mia pulled the van back into the lane so hard that my shoulder bumped against the side door a little. "Fine. Like you're a better driver. You can say something, you know." We listened to the tape playing in silence. An order came across the PDA. "Hey, that's your address. Or our address, I mean. Your mom, future mom must be ordering something. If other me shows up, we can ambush them." The order was for a sandwich from a mushroom pizza place we go to from 2001. The retro oceany setup was cool, but the music they played annoyed both of us. It was the kind of music that would sound a lot better in a car wash than it does over speakers. Either way, we knew the place. "Your other you didn't look like they liked me," Mia went on. "I bet older you won't take this order, even if the bonus is for $5,000. "Mia," I stopped and took a deep breath. "My future self is I can't think of anything nice, a jerk with ugly short hair. But you are always going to be awesome to me." She's like, "I kind of like the short hair on you." I stared at her for a moment in disbelief. Instead of saying something, feeling a fight coming on, I looked back to the PDA. Sponsored order. I stared down. This says after we complete this, we can do a sponsored orders for more money. Sponsored by whom? "How much more money?" she asked. "I don't know, but we should find out." I accepted the order and Mia made a left turn driving towards the pizza shop. After picking up the sandwich in 2001, we returned to Mia's house in 2022. The house looked the same, other than it looked like it could use a coat of paint. I noticed the light flickered, which I don't remember it doing the last time in 2002. The gravel in the front yard looked thinner as well, as if it had been unkept. She walked to the door and tried to open it, but the knob didn't turn. She tried her key, but the key didn't fit. She banged on the wood. "Yo, it's me. We got a sandwich." After a bit, we heard footsteps from the other side. Mia took a step forward but stopped, like she didn't believe her own eyes. I expected Miss K to come out of the house, but she didn't. A stranger stood there, dressed in nice going-out clothes. "Who are you?" Mia asked. "Do you have my food?" the woman asked back. "Yeah," I said. "Thanks." She grabbed the sandwich. "You know when the second one's getting here? I got a party starting and I owe my sister-in-law a sandwich too. You tried these? They are good. Does anyone else live here? Does my mom live here?" Mia asked with concern. "I don't know you," she replied. "Do you know who lived here before?" I said. "No." The stranger seemed uneasy. "We bought it in an estate sale 20 years ago. I'm going to eat this now. Good night." She closed the door. We walked away from the house. As we stood looking down at the shadows cast by the flickering light, Mia's eyes narrowed. She covered her face with her hands. "This isn't real, is it? What happened?" Her body rocked back and forth. She folded her arms. I knew what that meant. I handed her the CD in my hoodie pocket. She put them on and turned up the volume. Crickets chirped. So Mia turned up the volume to better block out the sound. After a few minutes, the roaring from the nearby highway had stopped. She took off the headphones. I took the CD player back. I crossed my arms inside my hoodie pocket. How can we fix this? This isn't something people can fix, is it? I asked. Why isn't my mom here? Mia bowed her head. We'd never sell that house. Had I failed Miss K? The thought punched me in the gut. I looked through the jobs on the device. I found one and held up the phone to Mia's face. Look at the amount on this order, I said. She squinted. Her eyes widened at the number on the screen. Instead of watching Mia drive that clunky van, I checked my watch, which was useless. Time traveling between dimensions is confusing. Is that what jet lag feels like, I wonder? She parked the van and I pulled up the order. On the screen we found 2 tickets, front row seats, which the device printed out for us. The delivery note instructed us to wait in our seats until further notice. 2 seconds after parking, I see a familiar jerk coming at us from the other side of the parking lot. Their walk seemed to be more stumbly this time. Hey, you stole my van. I had to take a stranger's car here. How did you get it running? I do not want to talk to you, Azami. I yelled out the window. Azami! They pounded on the back window. We got out of the van. How did you know where we were? I asked. I could smell the weekend 12-pack on my breath still. What happened to me? Mia asked my future self. Why is someone else living at my house? You might have moved. It's been years. My future self suggested cold rehearsed. They quickly peered into the back of the vehicle. We tell each other everything. Why wouldn't you tell me this? Mia said. Azami looked up and threw their hands in frustration. There are a lot of things that are not like how I want them to be, but I can't change any of that. I've tried. You are going to tell me everything. I'm not doing anything you asked me to do there, Littlefoot, they laughed. I took a step closer to them. I'm not asking. I can't, I'm sorry, they said. Apology loop, I reminded myself. I'm not bound by your rules. Mia threw her hands in the air. I can't deal with 2 of you. I need a moment. I'll be right there, I'm going to. But before I could finish talking, she reached inside my hoodie pocket, pulling out the CD player. I super need these right now. Which I knew. Give me back my keys. Azami pointed at Mia. You can pry them from my cold, dead fingers, she said, putting in earbuds. She hurried inside. The hell, dude? I pushed my future self. What are you doing? With my life, what is wrong with you? Dude. Don't go pinning all this on me, they bickered. We are the same person. And I've been enforcing your boundaries as Dr. Tanaka taught us that we agreed to. Well, maybe not you, but one of you. I didn't agree to anything. And it's Dr. Tanaka, I explained. Why are you saying it weird? Oh, Dial, they yelled. I guess they were calling me a slut or something. I hoped they wouldn't follow me inside. After the ticket people let me in, I heard Azami running behind me. I tried to ditch them, but they were relentless. We found ourselves walking through crowds of people decked out in team gear in an outer part of the stadium. Why are you following me? I asked as they ran after me. We're not giving you the van back. I'm going to my seat, they said. By the way, I'm being hella nice to you. I hope you're understanding that. You're being hella nice? Let me tell you about some hella good, not good things I learned about myself in the past few hours. My eyes looked to where Azami had been, but they were no longer there. I searched around and found my future self standing in line at a concession stand. The hell are you doing now? I walked to them. I don't have to tell you, but it was your birthday, right? I face-palmed. You're celebrating for me, aren't you? With a beer. Or something in a vodka, maybe, they said. They made a face and stuck out their hand. Talk to the hand. I'm not like Mom, you know. So I did the Free Willy in motion with my left hand as if my hand were a whale jumping over a zombie's hand. It's the thing I do when people do the whole talk to the hand thing. Zammy narrowed their eyes at me. That's rude. We're gonna beat you to the order. I jabbed my finger at their chest. Good luck. They leaned over to see what was taking the line so long. As soon as I found my seat, Mia grabbed my CD collection I kept in my emotional support hoodie pocket. She flipped through all the CDs in the case. Is this all you brought? You steal my entire dream life but can't bring a CD I like. Mia frowned. I froze, thinking of all the things I could say. My bad. I sat down. I didn't mean to snap. Are you okay? I asked. Are you having junior high cheerleader flashbacks? She straightened up and pulled her hair from her headphones, about to yell. You're in my seat, I heard a voice say. I turned to tell them they were mistaken, but you've already figured out it was a-hole. Mia's in your seat, I said. They scoffed at me. What? She asked. A zombie is being a jerk, I told her. Future me waved their arms in the air, trying not to spill their beer. Yeah, I'm the big scary monster. I get it, kid, they mocked. I'm the ghost of future you. They laughed an evil laugh. They found it funny, I guess. Don't call me kid, I told them. Why are they here? She pointed at my other self with a look of disgust. That's how this works, Azami said. She changed the track on the CD player. Music played over the stadium speakers. It's your Las Vegas Looters versus the Phoenix Hawk Commanders. This game has been sponsored by Future Treats. We got you at Future Treats. Meet our Future Treat trained professionals who are squaring off as a treat for you. Realizing everyone in the stadium can see you in your emotional support hoodie was not cool. I tried to smile for everyone watching the Jumbotron TVs, but I looked mad again. The winner, who signed a waiver, will get $2 million if they win. No rules. $2 million? That wasn't what the order amount was for. I turned to Mia, who stood. I sighed. This is the weirdest birthday ever. Shut up and do something already, as Amy bared their teeth at me. As Amy held the guardrail, looking at the giant tray of a field, something began to fall from the ceiling of the stadium. A briefcase on a rope lowered to almost the 50-yard line. Are you ready? Crowd around us cheered. I noticed Azami bending their elbows. I recognized the look, determination. The first person to get the briefcase back to their seat wins. Good luck, Future Treat employees. A horn blew. We heard hooting and hollering. I turned to run to a gate allowing you field access. But I looked back to see if Azami had followed me. They hadn't. They had jumped the rail and were running across the field into a tunnel. I lost sight of them after they ran in. I turned to Mia, but she wasn't in her seat. I looked back to the field and saw her running towards the case. She ran through the cheerleading squads. Both teams looked at the competition confused. My foot slipped on the railing. I regained my footing, but saw my other self run back out of the tunnel holding a ladder. What is this? I yelled. I jumped down to the field. My feet moved towards Mia, who now stood at the 50-yard line looking for some way to get up. She turned towards me. Azami ran behind her, holding the ladder high, as if they meant to swing with it. I screamed. Mia squinted at me but turned. My other self swung the ladder towards her face. She dropped to the ground. The ladder missed. Top of her head by inches. The crowd cheered. "The hell are you doing, Azami?" I screamed, charging at myself. "Winning," they said. Azami set up the ladder and climbed. They reached Mia. I shoved the ladder. The whole structure came crashing. The prize object waved back and forth. I looked in all directions, trying to find something to help my friend out with. I had to have something. I couldn't keep standing there useless. With my mind blank, I tackled my future self at the knees. They threw a fist. She had found a way to stand the ladder up. She leapt up and grabbed the suitcase, but the ladder shook. Azami had thrown me against the metal. I planted my feet, trying not to knock the ladder over. I glanced up and saw her climbing down with the case in hand. They came at me, pushing me back. Mia landed on her feet, like she had practiced landing all those times back in cheer practice. She dashed towards the seats where we had been sitting. She tried to dodge through the cheerleaders as Azami approached her, as if they were a hunter stalking their prey through a forest of cheerleaders. I went in for a tackle, but my future self pushed me down to the ground. Azami reached for Mia, who climbed partly up the railing. She stretched out with one hand. She swung the briefcase up and tried to push herself upwards. It fell to the field into Azami's hands. Her sneakers landed on the floor below our seats. Azami climbed. Mia grabbed their hand to steal the victory, but she stopped. Instead, she crossed her arms and stepped back, giving them a hard look. My hands reached out to pull Azami's down, but I was too late. Before I could get back to the row above, they sat down with the money. "We have a winner," they announced over the speakers. Mia, with her hands folded, sat. Panting from having skipped out in PE class too many times, I returned to my seat. My other self held the case tight. It reminded me of those nature films where some animals hold the dead thing in their mouths, proud or whatever. "You almost hit her," I accused. "What were you thinking? Why would you? You could have killed me, Azami." Mia sat wide-eyed. "You were going to hit me." "No, I was pretending to hit you." "I wouldn't," they barked. "I don't have to answer to you." They looked at Mia. "Or you." They sat up, adjusting the briefcase across their chest. "I keep starting a new shift every time I get back to the store. I've been doing this for a while. I know how to win." "No." Her hand shook with disappointment. "You look like you've hit me before. You've seen other me's and Aurore's. Don't worry about it." They leaned forward in their padded stadium seat. I leaned closer. "What happens to the losers of this game, shift, whatever this is? The ones who don't get to the reset point, what happens?" Azami didn't answer. "Everyone who doesn't make it to the reset point is okay. Then the company gives cupcakes and giant hugs to all. They care, don't worry about it." "Every shift, you do this over and over?" I asked. "I told you, when I first met you, I was planning on being the one to get out of here, and nothing you did mattered. Well, I told one of you anyways." "Let's get out of here." I threw my head back. "Yes." She stood up. "I'll meet you outside." "See you, gatekeeper," they waved. I stood up and shook my head. "Are you going to sit there? We don't have a lot of time left on this shift." "I've done this before. If I don't see you again, peacefully, good luck." They slurred their syllables. "Screw you too." I walked away. I almost left the stadium, but a video ad in the food area caught my eye. "Have drinks delivered to your seat." I looked towards the field. Helmets clanked and the whistle blew. Fans cheered. "Hey," I yelled to a woman vending a cart. "What's the strongest drink you got?" I asked. They looked at me. "You got an ID?" I ordered Azami something strong called a mind eraser. "Seat 111. Tell them I said happy birthday. Put as much booze in it as you can." I handed the woman a $20 bill and walked away.
Episode 4.
A what limit? Mia sat in the driver's seat, looking through the clutter of tapes, looking deep in thought. The van door slammed shut. She winced as I climbed in. I don't drop things. Why did I drop? She started to say something else, but she couldn't. I paused. Please, don't be sad. I shifted in my seat. We can take what we made back to your mom. She hit the steering wheel. You can't listen to anything I say. I don't understand, Aurore. Why don't I get to know what happens to future me? Where's my future mom? Why is future you so? Other me takes shifts, I said. If we beat them there, we can do this job whenever we want. Nothing else matters. My seatbelt clicked. The one where everyone gets cupcakes? Are you kidding me with this? Do you understand what is happening? You're not beating them. You are killing them. We need to hurry. None of this matters anyways. Not when that timer ends and we get back to the reset point before... Mia began to turn the key but stopped. You aren't understanding, Aurore, she said, raising her voice. I think older you got mad. It did something worse than punching a hole in the wall to me. You don't care about me at all. You don't care about anything, not even yourself. That's not true, I said. I would never. You don't know all that. We can fix this. We can work on the issues between us. With this job, we can make money whatever we want, and I'm supposed to be okay watching you kill yourself to work an 8-hour shift over and over? I thought we were getting better, but how can we when you're over there having an identical dimension death match with yourself? For what? Future you can't be poor. If resetting destroys the entire dimension, you are a zombie, the destroyer of worlds, dude. Thanos has nothing on your body count. Yeah, I don't know why the future me does anything, but I don't think future me means to suck. I'm still lost. When I'm lost, I do things to try to keep myself stable. You taught me how to cope. I think older me hurts because something happened to you. You happened to me, she said. Neither of us spoke. She hit the eject button on the tape in the cassette player. She looked at the handwritten label. Her hand flipped the tape around to show me the name written on it. Coffee and pizza mix. We need to get going, she said, looking into my eyes. We gotta beat traffic if we want to get the money we made from one order back to Mom. After that, with us, I don't know. My heart sank. Don't talk like that, I said. Mia turned the key, but nothing happened. The hell? Mia examined the keys. She tried again, twisting. We heard no clicking or other engine-y noise. No. Pop the hood, I motioned to the front. My door slammed, and we went around to check. The PDA buzzed in my pocket. Mia noticed and grabbed the release latch thing instead and opened it. A new message notification appeared on the screen. Xbox thing read, Hi. I got an IM. I showed her the message of the device. The van's battery is gone. Mia gently closed the hood. Other you must have taken it out when you went inside. PDA started to ring like a telephone. Mia crossed over behind me and looked over my shoulder. Oh my God, what is going on now? She said. The device wouldn't stop buzzing in my hand. Something broke on this device at the game. We're gonna die. Wait, why does this box say answer? I showed her the buzzing thing to her. Does this work like a phone too? She asked. That's horrible. People can call me anytime they want, I said. I swiped right and heard my older voice through the phone. Thanks for the Long Island or whatever, a zombie said. Don't think it worked like you were hoping. You're not going anywhere. I hit the battery near the stadium somewhere. Good luck finding it, you two. Beep. The call ended. When the hell did I learn to take a battery out? I kicked the front left tire. The phone buzzed, sounding like a cowbell. 8 hours are up. Shift complete. Please make your way to the reset point. We panicked, looking around in all directions. I tried to figure out where the older me might have put the entire battery. I spotted a garbage can nearby. I ran to it, looking inside, digging around nachos and beer cans. No battery. She bent down, looking underneath all the cars. There's nothing here. Who knows where that nutcase hit that thing? The reset on the PDA is close to Neonopolis, I said. We both ran as fast as we could away from the parking lot, sprinting into the nearest casino. Once we had passed slot machines and a flower display, we found our way back on the strip. We spotted a cab waiting on the curb. Mia stopped me before I climbed in. You have money? She asked. Not with me. I spent everything on booze. I turned to the driver. Could we pay the fare with the phone? The driver, wearing a baseball cap, scoffed. My machine is broken. Did we check the back seat for the battery? Mia didn't blink. We turned to run back to the stadium parking lot. The PDA says this is it, I yelled. We ran into a cabbage store, leaving the van running in the street. Thankfully, Mia knew how to install the battery that had clearly been sitting in the back seat. Getting out of the stadium in that traffic hadn't been so bad since Mia used the sidewalks. She didn't run anyone over or anything, but we did break some traffic laws. Since the identical dimension was about to end and everyone was about to die, we figured it'd be okay. The store was just a store with cabbage. They all looked the same to me. Red and green, shelves lined with boxes of Elon's cabbage, all with the same logo. Throughout the store, they played strange futuristic music. People don't actually shop here, right? Mia chewed on her lip. We heard a lady in the back of the store call to us. You have arrived. I guessed it to be the goggled lady. She looked younger than I thought, wearing a shirt and a tie with black slacks. It's in the back. She didn't look at us. She read what looked like an employee handbook. Kid. We turned around. A zombie stepped out of a cab. Don't get any further. Don't get any closer to the back room. They slurred their words, walking towards me. I reached for the nearest head of cabbage and whacked a zombie across the face as hard as I could. They fell to the ground. I kept hitting them. Their device fell. Mia leapt and picked it up. Seriously, dude? A zombie stood. This is how we're gonna do this. Cabbage flew and smacked a zombie on the face. A perfect headshot. What, my other me's you've killed haven't fought back? The cabbage I had held broke in half on their head. Mia picked up another one. The young lady didn't look fazed by any of the fighting. She kept looking over the employee handbook, as if she had seen this kind of thing before. I kicked my future self in the knee and hit them on the head with the red cabbage. I reached for a giant shelf that had a lot of cabbage boxes. Pulling with all my weight, I sent the heavy shelf crashing on a zombie. Chunks of green and brown flew everywhere, falling from on top of them. Mia pushed another shelf. A zombie's foot kicked, trying to free themselves of the boxes and cabbage. We sprinted towards the back. We heard a voice from outside. You didn't pay your cab fare. I slammed the door and locked it. An angry Mia crossed her arms. You don't think the other driver's gonna help my other self, do you? I said. Something felt like I was standing on the wrong side of the door. That annoying voice inside your head that tells you not to walk in the oncoming traffic was screaming at me not to do what I was doing. I didn't listen. In the middle of the room sat a large duffel bag stuffed as full as it could get. On top, a bulb stuck out. It lit up green. Mia's squinting eyes found 2 red boxes on a shelf not far from the back exit. Look at this. It's full of a zombie's future treat vouchers. She lifted the paper promises into the air and tilted her head in confusion. Is the ice cream scoop puppet going to redeem them for us? I asked. Let's find out. She poured the coupons into my cabbage container. While she switched the vouchers inked with gold text, my fingers unzipped the plastic slider. USB sticks of yellow and red, along with hundreds of dollars of bills, burst from the zipper teeth. I held up one of the bills to the light above and saw the raised printed watermark. The embedded strip ran down along the length of the bill. Lifting the handle, I saw the words "Property of Future Treats." A USB stick and a necklace with a large blue diamond surrounded by a bunch of other colorless rocks fell to the floor. The light on the duffel bag turned red. "Please return company property." An electronic voice from within the bag seemed to speak. "It is the employee's responsibility to return the company earnings with the money and tracking data intact." "I can't have nice things," Mia said. "How do we get out of here?" I took a step away from the bag and paused. Wait. Turned around and thought about my future self, trapped in boxes of Elon's cabbage. We should think about this. What's there to think about? Mia held out her hands in confusion. They didn't make it in here. They get to have a say in this. Why are you doing this now? This is the answer to all of our problems. I don't feel cool about this. Thinking of my future self on the other side of the room. Come on, she nodded. Sometimes you got to toughen things out. It's almost over. My palm held the money box of Elon's cabbage. I took the duffel bag. This was the only way to keep Mia safe, I told myself. I hesitated, hoping a zombie would be able to get out of those shelves and back in the room. However, no one came. If I hadn't become like my mom, my future self could have fought it. But I couldn't fight. The feeling didn't stop, but I tapped on the PDA. You don't deserve anything anyways, I told myself. Hit confirm to reset and return home with your earnings, a voice said from the device. Something wasn't right. The sound was off. It hummed and clanked. The phone zapped my hand. I felt it deep in my skin, burning. Please reduce weight, the device demanded. Cannot reset with the amount of weight detected. Maybe this isn't supposed to be a two-person job, I asked. How can we reduce the weight? Do we take out some of our money? Nope. Mia took off her shoes and threw them across the room into a cabbage box. I did the same with my shoes, missing the box. Take off your clothes, she said. I panicked. I promised your mom I wouldn't take off my clothes for money. She threw off her watch and took the socks off her feet. I took off the comfort hoodie, which must have been weighing us down a ton. We stood in only our sports bras and boy shorts. I hit the reset button. It shocked us again. We need to leave our share of the money, I realized. I can't do that to my mom. I can't. This might be the only chance I get with whatever has happened in this messed up future. I won't, she said. Let's take some of it, I reasoned. She paced, thinking. She turned around. A zombie's PDA. My mouth curved into an O shape. The screen looked exactly like mine, with the button ready to be pressed to return us home, to reset both of us. We can hit the buttons at the same time. That has to up our weight limit or whatever, wouldn't it? Mia said. A loud thud came from outside the door. Someone pounded from the other side. We have to do this, she said. It's the only way to stop yourself from hurting you if nothing else. I nodded reluctantly. We pressed the button on the screen at the same time. Congratulations on winning your shift. You win! Confetti burst into the air. A rumbling sound off in the distance came forth. The device roared and crackled louder. I heard my future self cry out from the other room. A zombie had broken down the door. They stood, looking at me, devastated. My vision turned blurry until I saw the familiar spins of light circling towards a dark hole. Only now there were 2 black holes on opposite sides of each other. I could hardly see, but Mia came into focus, holding onto a zombie's PDA in the air. She headed towards a different dark hole thing than I did. And then I saw a flash. She was gone. Flames engulfed wherever I was. My future self screamed in pain. Things got cold. Welcome back to your timeline, the PDA said. This reset has been sponsored by Bob's Apples. Have a free apple on us. No. I found a way to stand up. The van sat in the roundabout with the engine and headlights on. I held the duffel bag and the box of money. Mia was not there. Bob knows apples like the sunset knows the Grand Canyon, the PDA continued. Hey, I heard a voice say. A zombie Chandler. I turned. The worker from the cabbage store stood on the sidewalk nearby. Yes, I'm Aurore Chandler, I answered. I'm here to pick up the duffel bag. She rubbed her thumb across her fingers, waiting for me to comply. Congrats on winning the shift. Where's my friend? Future Treats is not responsible for lost items. Hand over the bag, please, she said. No. I want my friend back, and my other self. You should have picked better. She grabbed the bag out of my hands. Thank you for working for Future Treats. What kind of sick game was this? After rolling the van back into the K garage, I stepped out and put the keys in my pocket. I adjusted the money box and slammed the van door shut. Again, because I can't do a single thing right. But I wasn't thinking. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. Miss K rushed from the kitchen in the black nightgown she had before. Rory, what are you doing in my garage with Bianca's van? Where is Mia? I gasped. I thought to myself, hold it together, Aurore. Hold it together. Mia is gone. There's a way to fix this. Wait. Miss Other K is dead. I bit my lip to avoid crying. Aurore. Aurore? Aurore, I need you to speak to me. What are you doing here? The real Miss K said. I don't know, I swear. Those eyes. I know those eyes. She had those wild bear eyes, and that wild bear held a spoon. What happened? What's inside that box in your hand? I gave it to her. You don't need to go to work anymore. Mia wanted to make sure of that. She wanted it for you. What do you mean? Choked. What do you do with that? This PDA sucks and Mia got lost in time? 'Cause I'm dumb? And I let her choose this? But we got a free apple. There's no chance of explaining that horrifying situation to any kind of normal person. But this wasn't a normal thing going on. Aurore, she took a step towards me. Is this some kind of prank? Sour milk in a locker is one thing, but this is theft, kidnapping. We could press charges. How did you get in here? How did you get the keys? Did you take them? I tried to think what to do next, but I had nothing. This is when I'd ask Mia what to do, but I couldn't. I had an overwhelming thought. Had I ever known what to do on my own? Do I not make my own choices and stuff? Aurore! Miss K looked at the strange object I held in my hands. I thought long and hard, realizing I had to tell her. I had no other choice. Or not. I didn't know what or not was at the time, but I picked it. To my shock, though, pressing start shift on the screen did nothing. My finger jabbed at the start text over and over, trying to start a shift. It didn't work. I have to go. Keep the money, I said. Where is she? She asked. I looked into her eyes. That's where those specks came from. Sorry. Miss K ran after me as I left the open garage. I ran into the dark on foot with nowhere to go. I tried to sleep for a while in the park behind some bushes after everyone had left the glow party. Most of the time, I lay there thinking about how Mia wasn't coming to save me. I looked across the desert. I tried to count how many colors I could see as the sun rose. Not many. My eyes suck pretty bad. I knew I should have been doing something to better my situation or whatever, but I didn't. I sat there, like a zombie did. I kind of felt I understood them better, even though how they had been living was iffy is a nice way to put it, I guess. I stood up from the ground. The light all flickered behind me and stuff. I headed to the bus stop down the street. Episode 5. There are no cupcakes. Class chatter echoed through the halls of the school. Paper pumpkins and witches swayed on clips from the ceiling. It looked like a typical day. Most of the kids had been herded like cattle between classes already. I used my hands to comb my hair as I walked towards locker 88B. An ugly steel locker with chipped blue paint and vents so tiny it's hard to leave a note in it sat in front of me. We couldn't figure out how to get notes out, so we left a few of them. It blocked the sour milk and candy pumpkin smell from the outside world if nothing else. I turned the combination to 012475 and the locker creaked open. My nostrils flared at the sour smell as I picked up a CD case from inside. I flipped through the albums. Next time I see you, I'll have a CD you like, I thought. Mia wasn't gone. She's just not here. She was out there, somewhere. In a dimension somewhere I couldn't reach. I needed to find a way to take another shift. I needed to bring her back. From instinct, I tried putting the CD case in my hoodie pocket, but I wasn't wearing my hoodie. The one thing that always comforted me was now gone. Something I didn't recognize lay on top of a bunch of crumpled notebook paper. I picked up the flyer and pencil shavings fell out onto the laminate floor. The flyer read, "Hello, winner. Come work with us again. Find an Elon's cabbage to recharge your PDA." Why did the flyer have quotes around PDA? My other self had called it a phone. Elon's cabbage was not a thing I ever remembered before any of this crazy stuff started happening. I assumed the location might be the same as it was in 2022. I dug around in the locker. I thought I had some onion dip chips in there, but I didn't. "Aurore, you're supposed to be in class. Get going," I heard from behind me. "Yeah, no, Miss Trinity," I said. "I just got out of a job that devalues you as a person. That way, they can take whatever they want from you. School didn't seem to work out for me either, so I am out." A voice came across the intercom. "Aurore Chandler, please come to the front office." I looked outside. 2 police cars drove into the parking lot. Yep, I'm not doing that. Miss Trinity stood between me and the other exit. "You're coming with me." Like, no. My fingers clenched around the CD case. I kept walking. Miss Trinity followed. "Don't take another step," she said. "Trust me, Miss Trinity. What I'm dealing with right now, you do not want any part of." Miss Trinity grabbed me by the arm. "Let's go." "Can you, not?" I ripped my arm out of her hold. She came at me to grab my arm again and I ran. All the way to the end of the hall. Our steps echoed. I reached the exit and paused against the lever thingy and continued running. I headed back towards the bus stop. Miss Trinity stood, watching me run. It's not working because you need to charge before you can take another shift, the employee explained. I found the Future Treats sign up on Fremont Street. I recognized the employee as the woman from the reset point. She looked like she hadn't slept in ages. You made money, right? If I made as much as you did, I'd invest it. Why would you take another shift? Why haven't you worked a shift? I asked. You can't take a job without facing an older or younger you. I couldn't kill my future or past self, having to look in my own face and say, I'm here for the money, Brooke. I couldn't do it to myself. Could you? Oh, yeah, you could, huh? Something in her eyes made me think she had often thought of this scenario. That's why her eyes froze. She brushed the hair on her neck and went on. No thanks. Well, if you want another shift, I can charge the phone up for you. It's gonna take a while though, like a minute. She shuffled papers on the desk before taking the PDA from my hands. With the flick of her wrist, she flung the phone over her shoulders, which clanked against a metal pan at the bottom of a bin. How do I find my friend? You don't. Future Treats employee shrugged. That dimension is destroyed. Gone. Everyone's dead. You can't go back to it. I killed everyone? I said. She nodded. I have no words to describe what I felt realizing the pain I caused. The loss. I put my feelings aside. They weren't in that dimension. She pressed the device at the same time I did. She drifted into another, I don't know what, somewhere far from me. You're talking about the light show after you get sucked in. Your friend is in another dimension. Did you restart that device yet? Brooke leaned in a little, now interested, her ears perked. I don't know what a restart is. The phone kept talking about cabbage. That's good. Kind of. Your odds of finding your friend in an identical dimension are better, but not great. The device looks at the recent locations in RAM to determine which data farm or identical dimension to send the worker to. It helps the delivery algorithm pick more stable universes. The bin the lady had thrown my phone into lit up red. She frowned. Actually, this phone's battery is toast and needs replaced. But when I cut power, it kills the memory in the RAM. I can try to pull that identical dimension location point from the RAM, but the data is fragile. Since it's stored in a temporary drive, the device generates an incredible amount of possible dimension location points. This fills up the temporary RAM fast. Sooner or later, the device will find a confirmed real identical dimension. Companies buy this identical dimension point at auction, which goes for billions of dollars. So the phone spits out an insane number of tiny codes looking for this confirmed IDP. Trying to find one of those where your friend might be is like finding a certain rock at the bottom of the ocean. Burnt toast, I would say. You lost me way before the random toast part. Is the phone lightly toasted where it's boring, or burnt toast that sticks to the top of your mouth when you eat it? It's sticking to the top of your mouth, she said. Want the toast or not, because you can start a shift on it, and you might be able to get back to the dimension your friend is in. But not on that phone's battery. Not an 8-hour shift. Unluckily, I know a solution. Brooke bit her lip. It's going to suck. Hold on to your butts. Brooke typed something on my phone. Are you sure you want this? If you want this, Future Treats can't send anyone to save you. I can't just leave her. I promised, I said. A weak answer for what you have to do, but sure. I'm going to switch some settings to help you out. I ask one favor. On the condition that this works, I will present it to you at a later time. Is this acceptable? She asked. Anything, I said. She shrugged. After doing more typing, she handed the phone back to me. Deal. It's going to suck. The phone only charges halfway. You can't replace the batteries or recharge once you've started a shift. I've helped your odds by changing some of the settings and cutting the shift in half, but you're going to be cutting it close. I would avoid checking your cabbage feed, but don't tell them I told you. Also, don't pay for verification. In my opinion, it's a scam. I squeezed the PDA so tight my hands turned white. I'll figure something out. Thanks, Brooke, I said. I walked out of the store and back out onto the busy strip. I sat on the bus listening to a screamo metal band on the CD player cranked to 10. The bus jostled back and forth as I held on to the handrail. Looking out the window, I saw row after row of stucco housing until I finally saw Mia's house. At the stop, I jumped off the bus and onto the pavement. After taking a deep breath, I looked towards the house. How could I find Mia after I started the shift? A feeling of dread came over it. I didn't know if I would come back. I didn't know if I should come back. But I wasn't going to leave her. Here we go. I walked closer to the house. I started to press start shift. But the door opened. I stood face to face with Miss K. What are you doing here, Rory? Miss K looked down at my shirt pocket, which held me a CD case. Where did you get that? She asked. I'm going to get her. She's going to be back real soon. I've got this. My fingers were red as I gripped the phone. Tell me, she screamed. My shoulders hung. You wouldn't believe me. You're hiding something, she said. I could hardly speak. My future self got involved in a stupid time travel scam. We earned a bunch of money, for you, for us. I beat myself over the head with cabbage. We couldn't take everything we won. Mia didn't make it out, but I'm going back to get her. I don't think you're well, she said. Actually, that's not what she said. I won't say what she said, but you get the idea. It's the truth, Miss K. I messed up, but I can fix it. Tell me the truth. She made a mad dash towards me, charging at me as if I were a rodeo clown. I pressed start shift. The PDA sounded up like a roaring dial-up, a noise it hadn't made before. On the top right of the screen, a battery icon flashed. The picture showed the battery less than half full. This will be the reset point you return to, the device reminded me. Miss K grabbed my shirt and pulled me towards her. I tried to run, but she wouldn't let me go. The PDA swirled and puttered. I screamed, "Get away from me!" Confetti burst out of the device and landed on the ground. The cosmic light show Brooke had talked about began. My vision went black. My stomach got sick. Something grabbed at me. My eyes adjusted as I turned. Miss K and I drifted towards the dimension together. I found myself at the entrance of Mia's house again, arriving in the new identical dimension. The doorknob wouldn't turn no matter how hard I pushed. Something began to play through the phone. Thank you for choosing to work for Future Treats. This shift has been sponsored by New Dip Fun Burgers. We changed the recipe and dipped the fun back into our burgers. 2 for $20, but order now and get a third for only $10 more. Must sign a waiver to eat Fun Dip Burger. No refunds. All crimes committed in an identical parallel universe are deemed imaginary by the law in the U.S. I don't know who's inside, but I need your help. I began pounding on the door, hoping. I kicked so hard I lost feeling in my bare feet. Someone. Aurore, Miss K cried, running to me. Why did I get teleported a few inches from where I was? It's a new identical dimension. I need one of us to understand what's going on here, Miss K. We both can't be clueless. I kept pounding. The door opened. Hand braces rattled. It was Mia. Kind of. This girl wore about 70 million necklaces around her neck as if that were the coolest thing ever. Her long blonde hair hung below her shoulders. Ew, she said. Are you Aurore's sibling or something? What year is it? I asked. What year is it? Miss K interjected. It's 2002. What do you mean, what year is it? Junior high Mia looked at me in confusion. Her right hand gripped around strands of hair as if it were a Tamagotchi. She squinted. Is that you, Mom? Why are you here? You're supposed to be in Phoenix for 2 weeks. You look tired. Thanks, Miss K said. I haven't had to travel to Phoenix for business since 1998. Miss K started to put the pieces together. Junior high Mia looked at her older mother, confused. Yeah, you do. You go all the time. Did you get fired? Junior high Mia asked. You taking me to the party? 1998 was so long ago, I told Miss K. Why is younger Mia standing in my house? There's only one of me? The teen tugged at her own hair. I don't get it. Why is everyone freaking out? Sure, I said, trying not to confuse her. I guess that was a confusing response, but whatever. I walked away from the front door and pulled out the PDA. How did I end up in 1998? It didn't matter. Maybe she would be in the year this all started. I didn't know how things worked, and I didn't care. I found an order from 2002 and tapped on it to accept it. The device spoke. Error 5C23WY0U. Dimensional jump mode enabled. Please authenticate and explain the rules of the shift to your other self before accepting an order. Miss K gawked. What have you gotten us into, Aurore? Aurore? Little Mia asked. My lips sucked inwards in confusion. What am I doing? The device showed a picture of the two PDAs held together with the heart between them. Authenticate. Which is like gross, right? I don't have another PDA, I cried. Oh my God. I don't have another PDA to authenticate with. Little Mia looked at me with her hands on her hip. Why did Mom call you Aurore? Call me Azami or something. I don't know. That'll make it easier, I said. There had to be a way to locate another device. There had to be a way to make this crazy situation work. But what was I going to do with Miss K? I couldn't get myself and Mia out of the reset point last time. How was I going to get both of them out now? Trying not to think about it, I searched the phone trying to figure out some way to get out of this mess. I found something. Find my phone, I blurted out, remembering something. My future self used Find My Phone to find us at the stadium. Maybe I can find the dimension Mia's in that way. Little Maria looked at me. I'm right here. That's a hella weird thing to say to someone. I ignored her. I heard footsteps behind me. Miss K looked over my shoulder. Where is my Mia? Azami. Phone found, the device said. I screamed. I heeled over and hit my hands on my shins, which, by the way, I held the PDA in that hand. That hurt, but I stomped my foot on the ground repeatedly. Miss K and the youngling backed away. That's my address, I pointed. It's my mom's address, my home. Oh, little Mia's all like, can someone tell me what's going on? Before I could figure out what to say, a familiar van drove into the driveway. Maria, the woman yelled from inside the van. She honked the horn and killed the engine. The tall woman who stepped out looked to be in her late 20s, muscular with black hair and wore large round sunglasses. She stopped and turned to me. What are you looking at? The famous Aunt Bianca glared at me. Just enjoying the sunset. I held my breath. I'm not sure what I meant. There was no sunset. Audrey? Bianca asked, seeing Miss K making her way into the house. She stood next to her niece, putting both of her hands on her shoulder. Why aren't you in Phoenix? You finally quit? I need everyone in the house. We need to talk. We have a problem. Miss K turned to me. Aurore, give me the death device you were holding. Turn it off. I stepped back. I can't. That's the only way I can find Mia. More people are going to get hurt, she begged. Please give me the phone. I panicked. I can't. I promised you something in another dimension. I messed up, but I'm going to keep trying until I get it right. Trust me, Miss K. I sprinted to the van, started the engine with my key, and backed out of the driveway. I floored the gas and raced away from the house, leaving everyone on the lawn behind. When I went inside my own house, I could see my mother lying on the sofa in the living room. She laid in the same spot she had when I left her in 2002. She narrowed her eyes at me. I hadn't realized how much I looked like my mom. She almost looked like a younger Azami, if that makes any sense. Well, I whispered. Hi, Mom. She tried to sit up. Who are you? You should drink some water, I said. Before going upstairs, I stopped in the kitchen. All the dishes were dirty and the dishwasher hung open, half-loaded. I cleaned the glass and filled it with water. I walked over to my mom. The big TV played at full volume. She took it, to my surprise. I'm here for Aurore. Okay. She drank the rest of the glass of water and put it on the floor. I shook my head in disappointment. Thanks, Mom. I went upstairs into my old room. I cringed at the sight of all the papers on the wall held up by thumbtacks. They were poems that I had written that I thought were amazing. They ended up in the trash a few years later. From the corner of my eye, I saw something move. Someone standing on a chair, looking into a mirror I had kept on an old dresser. No freaking way. There I stood, 15-year-old me, yawning with the sweatshirt inside out. Confetti scattered through the floor as the fan spun above. Why are you wearing a sweatshirt? I asked. It's hot out. Why are you wearing, no clothes? Rory asked, stepping down. Who are you? They took their headphones off. My, as in Rory's, hair looked awful. They had cut it short, and their bangs stuck up. Like they were conducting weather experiments. Little me looked like I hadn't washed my face in weeks, which I bet I hadn't. The hell did you do to your hair? I yelled. I cut it. I found some photos of someone who looked like me but older on the U-Pad and decided to cut it like them, they said. I had never and would never cut my hair. And oh my God, did I sound like that? Doesn't matter, I said. I need whatever thing you got in that package. The one that shot out confetti. You can't have my U-Pad. It has games on it, they said. I'm like, there's games on it? Never mind, I need that phone now. You're not the boss of me. Get out of my house, Rory said. I am the boss of you. I am you. Ew, no. Why do you look like that? They said. Like what? There's no time for this, Rory. You don't get a choice. I started looking through the room, through all the garbage I used to collect, I used to call my things. Where is the PDA? I said. I'm not giving it to you. Rory clenched both fists. I ducked down to look under my bed. Something hit the back of my head. I turned around. There Rory stood, holding a math book. Kid, what the hell? I yelled. They charge you a lot for leaving marks on textbooks. I'm hitting you with something heavier if you don't leave right now, Rory yelled. Listen to me. You let me methamphetamine with you, I will do anything you want. I got a van. We can go anywhere, do anything you want. I took a step back. Anything. Rory looked at me. At first, Rory hesitated to get into the van, but after I reminded them of the ice cream, they got in and fastened their seatbelts. It kind of sucked that I was that gullible, but I always kind of knew. What should I call you? Little me asked. Azami, I shrugged. Who cares what they called me? They weren't going to be around for much longer. Rory looked at me. I can't say that name. It's hard. It's not hard. A-za-mi. Okay, A. Rory peeked out the window and began counting light posts. Cool kid, I sighed. Close enough. Kids ran everywhere at Sweet Scoops. What I thought would be a short stop for ice cream looked like it would take a lot more time. Time I didn't have. I could sucker the gullible kid into authenticating a different way. I looked at the PDA battery level and tried not to think about it too much. Sorry, I heard the woman say from behind the counter. We're closed for a birthday party. We'll go somewhere else, kid. Let's go, I said. I motioned them back outside. Awawi! I knew that sugary, sweet voice. I turned my head, and there she was, freaking Sally Lewis. She sat at a table in her cheerleader uniform, eating a sundae with the other kids sitting around a bunch of presents. This was the party I didn't go to 3 years ago. That little psychopath had tricked me. I remember that day lying around upset. But Rory looked happy. This didn't feel like the same dimension, yet it had to be. A woman stood up from her cake. Sally reached out with her arms. She smiled wide. Sit down, Mom. I apologize in the invitation Mia gave them. Aurore, come have some cake. It's German chocolate. I never got an invitation to Sally Lewis's birthday party. Mia and I had a fight over it. She never gave me anything. I turned to Rory, but Sally had run across the room. She hugged them. Rory didn't move. Their eyes widened like a cat getting too much affection and not knowing what to do. The hell you doing, Sally? I asked. You hate me. I don't know you, she asked, hugging Rory still. She had a smile on half her face and a frown on the other, it seemed. Right, look, we can go somewhere else, I said. Please don't go, Sally cried. We're playing pool table and then having cake and... Can you let go of me, please? Rory wiggled their way out of Sally's death grip. She bounced up and down on her toes and grabbed Rory's hand. What kind of ice cream do you want? They have ice cream blastonat, pieces of cookie and cream. She started listing off all the flavors they had at the store. The hell, I said. I heard Rory shout from across the store. Hey, ass Amy, what kind of ice cream do you want? A zombie, I winced. The coconut and chocolate surprise. Rory shot me a look. Ew. They don't have it, Sally yelled. I have it, second right to the bottom left by the... Oh, right, 1998. I'll take whatever Rory has, I said. Sally waved and pointed to the corner of the ice cream display. Cookie dough, da no delight. With all my soul, I tried not to say anything. Thanks, Sally. I took a seat near one of the mothers in the booth. Rory walked over to me, holding 2 giant ice cream cones with sprinkles. Sally, who didn't finish her sundae, walked with them, smiling. They came to me. I'm glad we came. Rory sat next to me. I shifted towards the wall so Sally could join us. You got enough room, Rory? Sally asked, waddling in. I couldn't hold it in any longer. They threw you up against a tree, Sally. What are you? Sally shrugged. That happened last week. I was wrong. I should have just left Mia out of our fight. No big. It's okay to make mistakes. She took a giant bite of ice cream. I'm glad you showed up. I didn't think you would ever talk to me again. In the real world, I had not ever talked to Sally again. I coughed. Think I need something to drink. Rory laughed at my discomfort. My jaw dropped. There I was, still smiling. Not a depressed smile, a real one, grinning from ear to ear, joyed to be around people. They started talking about some kid's new trapper keeper. A feeling came over me I didn't know how to describe as I watched them interact like a normal kid. Eating ice cream and telling silly stories about floppy disk drives failing with their homework lost on it. Can you stop looking at me? Rory finally asked me with a disgusted look. It's creeping me out. I ignored myself and thought about how that me wouldn't get to experience life after the shift. There was no way to bring Mia back without winning the job. I had to kill that younger version of myself. It's a thought that turned my stomach. I had already made my choice. There was no going back now. I pushed my younger self out of the booth, intending to go find somewhere to drink the pain away, but Sally scooted back. Bianca stood at the end of the table, smiling at me. Not a good smile. "Stay there a moment. Tell me about your van." Aunt Bianca stood crossed-armed with the family wild air eyes. Little Mia Maria stood next to her. "Tell me about the sunset." "Where's my invitation, Maria?" Rory asked little Maria, which was not a cool thing to do in front of Bianca. "I gave it to you at lunch Friday." Maria looked down. "You didn't," Rory shouted. "What would you know?" Maria shoved Rory. Episode 6, The Reset. Leaning in towards the booth, Aunt Bianca chewed gum, holding Maria back. Sally gently stood in front of Rory, who tried swinging after the water fountain bully. "Want to talk about your little joyride with my van, Sunset?" Bianca said to me with the palms of her hands lying flat on the table. "You wake up and decide it's a nice day for Grand Theft Auto?" "Mom wants us all back at the house to figure this out," Maria said, holding the side of her bloody nose. "That's my van," I stated. Bianca's lips jerked out. She started to yell, but she stopped and looked at Sally, who smiled, looking happy to be there. She chose nicer words. "What did you say to me?" I turned around, looking out the window behind me. There in the parking lot sat the van. I noticed something else, a tiny crack on the lower part of the window above my head. I looked back and saw Rory holding their PDA. I moved my pocket computer thing as close as I could to theirs, reaching. "Authenticated. Data transferred. Future treats assets secured," it said. Data transferred. I hoped nothing on the Rammy chip got moved and I had a chance to track the real Mia still. "Turn your pager off. We got some talking to do." Bianca spoke to me as if I were some lawyer's personal assistant. I grabbed Rory's cell phone with my left hand and ripped it out. My right hand jabbed into the glass. The PDA slid up. I, totally, was going to break the window. "That's not how that works," Bianca laughed at me. I shoved the table towards Bianca as hard as I could. Rory and Sally scooted away from me. The mothers at the nearby table stood up. Bianca rushed at me. I climbed my way up the table bench and jumped over my past junior high self. I sprinted out of Sweet Scoops, holding on to the items in my hands with dear life. I made for the exit. Took the keys out of my shirt pocket with my right hand and opened the door. Keys turned smooth in the ignition and the engine started. With the van in reverse, I stomped on the gas and turned as hard left as I could. I shifted into drive and floored it once again. As I grabbed the steering wheel with my right hand, I noticed I held something. The wrong PDA. I stopped the van and leaped out. I ran back towards my own device. Bianca, Maria, Rory, and Sally, along with the rest of the party, ran out of the building. Bianca ran to the exit and stood in the middle of the road. Rory held my old time travel machine. "I don't want this," I said as I ran as fast as I could to the Dimension Death device, my PDA. I looked up. My eyes locked with Bianca's, who made a mad dash for the van. I couldn't make it, and I did not want to get into a fistfight with that woman. I turned back and ran to the van, shutting the door, and raced out of the parking lot. I drove down the road, screaming and cursing at the steering wheel. "Why couldn't you have just held on to it?" I yelled at myself. I took a breath. The smell of the van clogged up my nose a little, but I kept trying. I looked at the phone. 1 hour until the end of the shift. The death device buzzed. I glanced down again and saw A message written on the screen. This shift is a 4-hour shift due to Future Treat's minor worker labor practices. Brooke, I yelled. My hand hit the steering wheel. I guess she did tell me this would suck. This wasn't what I wanted. The phone went on. Aurore's voice recognized. Would you like to load your profile and your last known RAM image? Yes, I shouted. Then I remembered what Future Treat's employees said. If the Rammy chip had to be uploaded, it was over. Toast. No, I corrected it. RAM profile uploaded. You ever had a moment where you lost all control of your senses and feelings? I had one of those moments on the freeway. I had to devalue myself to escape, and I was never going to see Mia again either. I couldn't even feel the wheel in my hands. The van tires hit the curb as I pulled over to park near a quiet street. I rammed my head into the steering wheel and screamed into the void. Brooke changed the settings on my shift so I would have 4 hours to save Mia. And I couldn't do it. I was screwed. My only chance was to somehow beat my younger self and go back to take on another shift. But how? The duffel bag, I shouted. I backed into the ridiculous cabbage store and turned off the engine. The timer on the phone dwindled to minutes remaining on the shift. Inside, Brooke stood where she had last time, reading the handbook. You know, you could get the money first, she chuckled. Your older self never figured that out. Your shift ends soon. You better get that bag so our plan will work. How did you know? I asked. I sped walk towards the back of the store. Why are you always here? I'm always working, she deadpanned, living large. I went to the room the bag had once been in before. In a different identical universe, that is. Oh, Brooke remembered. Your younger self is here. The fluorescent lights in the back room were so bright they hurt my eyes. My younger self stood in front of me, holding the Future Treat's duffel bag of money. Please, Rory begged, don't tell me you also thought of taking the bag and hiding it so you had more time to figure out what to do. Yeah, kid, I lied. That's pretty smart. How'd you learn about this? About what is going on? I talked to Miss K. Rory pulled on the bag around their shoulders. How would she know anything? I asked. She wasn't with us. Why didn't you tell me one of us is going to die? Rory backed away. The box of money. I had left the money with Miss K when I returned from the other shift. She must have gone looking for Elon's cabbage. But why was Sally here? Trying to do what's best for everyone. These choices are hard, I said. You suck at making them, Rory jeered. I know. You're supposed to keep messing everything up until you get everything right, I said. You're not getting this money. Sally handed Rory a cabbage. Something happened. At first, it felt like I had been hit in the back of the head with a wet pillow. I rubbed my neck where I felt chunks of cabbage. I turned around. I had the right to be hurt. But instead, I sighed. I turned around to face Miss K, holding a head of cabbage over her. I closed my eyes. Hey, Miss K. She lowered the cabbage. Hey, Aurore, or Izami, or whatever. I'm trying so hard to do the right thing. I'm trying to get her back. I wish you would help me. You're in it for yourself. Brooke told us everything. You can't do this, not like this, she said, hurt. Rory could see the pain expression on my face. I'm not in this for myself. I leaped towards Rory, who now made a mad dash with Sally towards the back exit. Rory had almost made it out, but the bag snagged on the doorframe. They tried to clear the frame, but it wouldn't let go. I grabbed the bag and pulled. The phone dinged. Shift over. Get to the reset point. Sally grabbed onto Rory and then onto the bag. They pulled together. Why is Sally here? I yelled. I felt another soft hit to the back of my head. Can you stop hitting me with cabbage, Miss K? I yelled. You're making a mistake. I pulled. The bag broke free. Before I could plant my back foot to run, Rory bear tackled me, knocking me back. I tried to push them off of me, but they pushed my hands away, causing me to lose my grip on the bag. But I grabbed my phone back. On the floor, I rolled as hard as I could. Years of stop, drop, and roll in elementary school had finally paid off. My elbows banged on the floor, leaving my skin raw and burning. I didn't care. I pulled out the phone, and I found an order as fast as I could, and I backed away. A message appeared on the screen. RAM transferred. Travel to dimension 07827534. I hit confirm so hard my finger jammed. It was over, but I might as well cling on to hope. That was my thinking. The phone spoke in a different, calming voice. Confirmed, Rory. Traveling to dimension 07827534, it said. Rory dashed at me, but I backed away in time for the phone to take me away. I fell hard to the ground, blinking. The store looked more modern than it had in the other dimension. I heard a voice from the other room. Got both phones, huh? You bet, I yelled. Nice, Brooke crooned. Welcome to 2002. Special code successful. A familiar dimension that matched your request has been loaded. The dimensional jump has been sponsored by Pet Escort Services. Let our escorts walk your pets for you while you make deliveries. Doesn't matter the pet, we'll take care of them. Pet Escort Services. We know our way around town. Click on the PDA now to learn more. 200 roses. I didn't know if Mia was safe or where she was. I had no way of knowing. I gasped, find my phone. Now you're getting this, Brooke encouraged, not looking up from her desk. I had to take a bus to get back to Mia's house. But since I had both phones, no one would be getting out of any universe. Finally arriving back at the K's house, I yelled and I made whatever noise I could, hoping somebody would come to the door. The door opened, and there was that curly side part, an instant eye roll. She wore an oversized t-shirt with a pocket, no pants, no shoes, as if she had just arrived. Aurore. She spoke softly in that wonderful, sarcastic voice, crying, I'm so happy to see you. How did you get here? I don't know how to tell you, I said. Cabbage Lady got me here. Mia, you were right. I need to stop beating myself up, because at the end of the day, I'm all I have, and I'm no good if I'm all black and blue. I can do things, like finding a way to see you again. I can live without you, but I don't want to. I'm gonna hug you if you'll let me, I told her. I was wrong, she said. Back at the reset point, I shouldn't have pushed you like that. She shifted, leaning against the frame. She looked to the side. You punched a hole in my wall and are about to kill an entire universe's worth of people. But I don't want to live without you either. I hugged her so hard. I held my face close to hers, holding on to her with my everything. I want to learn how to function with you, I said. I lost you. It's hard to explain, but I lost myself too. And now I'm here and we're going to have to act now together. What's wrong? She asked, concerned. I don't know how this is going to end. I almost whispered, holding down the trauma. The next choice we make is going to be hard. Like Brooke said. But we need to go. And you got to trust me for once not to slam the door or drop the phone. And we had to tie up your mother. What? She asked. You also lied to me about Sally Lewis's birthday party. She totally did invite me. No, she didn't. She looked down in a way. I'll explain it some other time. Our time. We need to get to the reset point and take back the duffel bag so we can escape. Steal back the duffel bag from whom? Your future you? Why are we tying up my mom? Mia walked alongside me. It's okay, she hit me with cabbage. Everyone is trying to do the right thing here. I canceled my order in 2002, taking another one in 1998, back in the other universe. Hug me. I leaned in for approval. She did. I hit confirm. The phone took us back for one last shot at getting things back to normal. Welcome to 1998. This dimensional jump has been sponsored by Jim Bob Shaving Cream. Jim Bob Shaving Cream gives you a close shave every time. About now comes in 3 distinct edible flavors: raspberry, lemon, extra whip. Try some on your favorite dessert. Phone buzzed. Shift over. Please return to the reset point to return home with your winnings. We heard a thump from upstairs, like someone walking across the floor. That's from my room, Mia said loudly. We ran upstairs. The locked room was not a Mia thing. I thought I heard voices and faint whispers of breathing. They didn't leave the bag here, did they? I asked. Mia, Miss K yelled from the other side of the door. Get the bag, I yelled, charging inside. Mia went after her junior high self. I held my hands to my pocket to protect the phones. Rory and Miss K charged at me. Sally stood in a corner, watching. I realized what was happening. I ducked. Bianca swung a baseball bat at me. She swung at my knees, missing as I pushed my hips back away. Rory threw a head of cabbage, whacking me in the face. Got it, Mia yelled. She ran for the exit behind Bianca. She swung the bat downwards, missing Mia, probably on purpose. I dashed by Rory and pulled Miss K to the other side of the door. I slammed it shut as hard as I could, using all my weight. I pulled out the phone. A message appeared on the screen. Weight limit increased. Please return company property. I heard my younger self cry out. It got quiet. No! Miss K reached for the knob. Mom, don't! Mia shouted. Miss K pulled on the door against us. I heard my own voice. Please, don't do this. Azami, I don't deserve this, please. Why do you get to live and I don't? I'm sorry, kid, I said. It's the job. Only one of us can get out. It sucks, but I've got to go. I pressed harder on the door. If we are going to do this, we need to do this now, Mia said. Let them out. Miss K pleaded with me. There's no other way. We need the 3 of us to get out of here. That is the only thing we can return things to normal. There are countless dimensions out there. There's other us's. None of them will feel pain. But I will, Rory screamed. I paused. Maria and Bianca kept pounding, kicking at the wood, trying to move us out of the way to escape. I pulled up the other phone. The other phone had the same message. My eyes closed. I thought about the last time I saw my older self, the look on their face. There I was, taking everything out on myself again, hoping by doing it things would get better. Again. Have you ever had a moment you realized you had to do something hard? I had that moment, and I decided to face it. Enough. I stood up. Mia stumbled up, baffled. I walked away and threw down my phone. The door opened. Okay, little one. I let Rory walk to me. If you have a better plan, I'll go with it. I don't need to fix all my mistakes. Duffel bag issued an audible warning. Reset and return the company property now or face the consequences. The young ones should get out, Bianca said. Older ones, stay behind. Mia grabbed my hand and squeezed. We nodded. Rory, Maria, and Sally stood together by the bed. Maria had the money bag. We stood back towards the corner of the room near the screaming Labrams band posters, huddling together. Rory's finger hovered above the screen. They looked at Sally and Maria. Duffel bag buzzed. An alarm sounded. Get going. Go make a bunch of mistakes, I waved. The 3 stood in what felt like a photo. Not moving, not blinking, not breathing. The noise in the bag grew louder. Go on, Rory, Miss K said. Rory and Maria looked to each other. Maria sighed. Don't do it, she said. They're dumb. I know, Mia, Rory snapped. They threw the phone. You adults act like you're all smart. I think secretly none of you have a clue what you're doing. How is this going to solve anything? Return company property now. The bag roared. Rory, you're going in. I put the phone back in their hand. You're resetting. We heard a voice from the other room. Hello, I let myself in. Brooke appeared from the hallway wearing a tie and black slacks. She put one hand in one pocket and put the other on her hip. We found ourselves backing further into Mia's room. Bianca picked up the baseball bat. You're in the wrong house. Bianca patted the metal with her palm. Nonsense. I'm here for my favor, Brooke said. Rory gasped. This is an uncharted dimension. No one can find us here, Brooke said. So I want... Wait. Why is everyone standing around the phone in the duffel bag? You weren't going to reset, were you? The realization hit in and you realized you didn't have to end the world? I hinted pretty hard. I said we have a plan. Are all the phones on airplane mode so we can let the batteries drain out? We all looked at each other. Rory and little Mia shook their heads at us. Yeah, that's what we did, I lied, putting the phone into airplane mode. 1998 is cool. We can hang out here. We breathed out a collective sigh of relief. Most employees don't figure out the whole future treat scam falls apart if you don't do anything, Brooke said. No offense, but it took you a long time to figure that out. Anyways, I have taken some money from the bag and a few USB drives as part of the favor. The thing will run out of power after 48 hours. I'd put it in a noise-proof room until then. I'll have to hang out for a while since I have nowhere to go. With that in mind, where is the bathroom? Sally pointed Brooke towards the bathroom while Bianca helped find whatever she could to silence the bag. I realized Brooke didn't tell me about the plan because the phone was recording us in a charted dimension. Now it doesn't matter. She could have said something later, though I'm not sure how her shift worked. I faced my younger self. I'm going to learn to be cooler to you. I'm not beating you up anymore. From here on out, I am your friend. We might not get along, but I promise I will fight for you. I don't know how, but I'll learn. Rory paused. I'm not sure how to respond to that, they whispered. I want a sonnet. No, Rory nodded their head. So, no one is dying, Bianca said. Mia Tackle hugged her, and then me. She buried her face into my cheek. I squeezed her back. I woke up like I did most mornings when living at the K's house. Though I wasn't wearing my emotional support hoodie I'd never be able to replace. Well, I could if I went to the same store and bought the same hoodie in the same year, but it wouldn't be the same. Though it felt off. I felt since I accidentally killed everyone in an entire universe, I shouldn't complain. I'm not proud of everything I've done. If I had had better information at the time, I would have acted differently. That's how hindsight works. I'm learning. Sometimes our mistakes hurt others. But we didn't kill everyone in this universe, so I'll keep doing the best I can. I made my way downstairs super early and made a full pot of coffee to start off the new routine. Rory sat at the counter, already up with her suitcases packed, their hair stuck up worse than normal, but they didn't seem to care. You can make coffee, you know, I reminded them. That wasn't always a thing when the other me lived at home. I have no idea if young me should be drinking coffee either, but that didn't stop me at that age, so I let it be. But our mom had started getting better after she took a part-time shift at Fukuyu Family Market. Dr. Tanaka opened a few years early after we told her what happened. Rory lives with me, but we try to go visit Mom when she wants to see us. We're all getting there. The coffee pot clanked. I poured Rory a cup. I'm putting milk in mine, Rory said. That's fine, I sighed. They poured milk into their cup and began to drain the entire sugar container. I got annoyed, watching them use all the sugar in the house. Sure, we have more money than we know what to do with, but we're still figuring out our laundry arrangement with the store, so we can pay taxes and spend our money. I didn't want to go buy more sugar. I wanted to say something about being wasteful, but then I saw how my younger self smiled. In the morning, I didn't shake my head. I left it alone. Mia entered the room. Rory opened the fridge door to put the milk back. They turned to the walking bear. They tried to gently close the door, but it fell out of their hands and slammed shut. Rory began to mumble. Thank you for trying, an annoyed Mia said. Little Maria walked down the stairs with an equal hate of existence. She sat next to her older self. I poured another cup and handed it to Mia. She sat in silence, eyes squinted, hair ruffled for a couple of minutes. She continuously checked her cup with her hand. When the coffee had cooled, she took a sip. She turned to me and smiled. Sally will be here soon. Her parents are dropping her off at the trip. I need to talk to Miss K before we go, I said. I poured one last cup of coffee. I messed up Mia's hair with my free hand and headed upstairs. Knocking on the bedroom door, coffee mug in hand, Miss K said, "Come in." I brought the coffee mug in and sat it on the nightstand. She stood in front of the dresser, packing a suitcase for the trip. You said you wanted to talk to me last night, Miss K? I said. Yeah, I'm finishing up packing. I'm going to call Bianca before she takes off to meet us. Nervous about driving or meeting your past self for the first time? I said. My first time did not go well for me. Yep, she zipped up a large suitcase. And New York is far, but she needed time to think after we talked. We have time, I said. Can you talk to myself for me and tell her everything that happened? Because I'm not sure I put it into words okay. Our first phone call did not go well. We fought over the house. I can try. She looked back up. Are you worried? Is the company going to come after you for not returning the duffel bag with the money? Miss K asked. After the devices powered off, me and I buried them. They can't find us here, I said. The doorbell rang. That must be Sally. Miss K frowned. I laughed at this. We both headed to the living room. Sally's parents and Brooke from the cabbage store helped bring in 2 large suitcases. I walked behind Mia and rested my head on hers. How long are we going to stay at the park? Sally asked, all excited. Rory was like, as long as we want. Dibs on the front seat. Brooke stuck up her finger. I put my hand on Mia's shoulder. I told you things were going to get better, I said. I decided to eat breakfast while everyone got ready. I took one of the home-baked cupcakes from the counter and took a bite. Mia stole a bite from the other side. And that is how I learned to live with myself. Not saying that it's easy. Rory and I can't agree on anything, but I guess that's how things go. Mia and Maria pretend the other doesn't exist. I bet it'll get easier for them. Meeting yourself for the first time is strange. You might find yourself saying things you don't mean. Rory won't stop saying, I'd never do that. It's confusing, but we'll make it. And so will you too. Just take it easy on yourself. Oh, had you thought about what you wanted to call yourself? Other Miss K? The end. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the audiobook. Definitely let me know what you think of it, and if you have any ideas for what I can write next, let me know. Take it easy on yourself. And special thanks to everyone who helped with this project. Good luck looking for cows out there.